No, listening, if you're under 18, this is not for children, okay? I'm tired of not being able to walk past preschools. Hashtag sex offender by accident. Don't poop in a sandbox. No, listening, if you're under 18, thank you.
Niños, escuchen estas palabras mientras que salen de mis labios agrietos. El siguiente programa, aunque esto sea muy divertido para toda la gente, no es para los niños. Como un burro que busca agua fría, un balde, y eso le va a dar toda la satisfacción que necesita, esta agua no es para ustedes. Por favor, vayan donde sus padres. Ayúdelos a limpiar los baños. No vayan a escuchar esto. Es muy importante. Que Dios nos bendiga a los Estados Unidos. Gracias.
Brian McCarthy interview show. Adam is now drinking his Coke. Disco. Listen to that beat. Breaking it down in Uptown. Take your hand and touch it. Touch it. Now rub it. Brian McCarthy interview show. Listen to that beat. Touch it. Now rub it. I wish I could still drink.
Oh, here we are, everybody. And if you're just joining us, you're going to really enjoy the new format. It's all things Billy Joel and Dune. So if it's anything about the House of Arrakis or Downeaster Alexis or any Frank Herbert fan fiction, pull up a chair. You're in a safe place. My name is Brian McCarthy, and sitting to my right is Adam.
And I'm
Henniker.
a rageaholic.
I'm a rage. Yeah, exactly. By rage, I mean children. Aholic. Fucking them. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Brian. It's such a pleasure to be with all of you. If you're watching, it's YouTube or even Facebook.
Yeah, we're still doing Facebook.
We're hanging in there. Exactly. It's gonna get cool again. That's what I'm waiting for. It's gonna flip around. I think Mark Zuckerberg just announced they're not gonna be doing any
right.
No more fact checking.
Yeah, we won't be censored for misinformation.
Yeah. So in case anyone's wondering, I bench 400 pounds. And those are clean. Those are 8 clean. I need help with 10. The 9 and 10 are problem, but I can do 400, no problem. All the way down to my nips too. I get down. My trainer's like, you're gonna blow out your shoulders, but I want the definition back there.
Yeah. Of course.
So, and if you're listening, oh my God, it's a podcast. Oh my God, lucky you. So, congratulations on listening and
congratulations on listening.
Just congratulations on making it this far. And I just wanted to say, obviously, just get this out of the way. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that fucking stupid like thing.
I'd say fucking smash it. Don't just hit it. Smash it.
By the way, I'm so now if I watch a video, even if I only for 1 second, I click like and I'll just leave a comment.
You'll just like go on a rampage liking things you're not even watching.
Yeah, I have subscribed. I looked into my little subscriber list recently and like I'm subscribed to like 900. It's like 900 things, and I believe 800 of the channels are about air frying.
The algorithm doesn't even know what to do with you.
No,
like this guy likes everything.
It's either those soft white underbelly, soft wet underbellies.
That's a different thing.
Soft white underbelly videos. You know, the black and white ones.
Sure. Yeah.
The guy talks about. He'll talk to some like fentanyl addict who.
It's weird because sometimes they just do regular, and I guess it's like, you know, a slice of life kind of thing, but it'll be like an NYU student, and then nothing exciting happens. They just talk about like what the cafeteria is like.
Yeah, and those are the videos that are 12 minutes. If you see a video that's an hour 40, you're like, all right, this is gonna be a good one.
So that's what I should look for. I should look for a certain length.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And also what's funny about, if you don't know what we're talking about, just look up soft white underbelly. There are these videos that this blonde guy does, and he basically, they're in black and white, and
how do you know he's blonde? If you get to see him sometimes?
I have seen.
You actually know the guy.
Yeah, he is. He looks so lost. He looks to me what LA looks like.
Gotcha.
His hair is all singed. No, hey, fires, thoughts and prayers.
Right, they're on fire. Right?
Yeah.
His blonde hair, blonde locks.
Like, hey, fucking Smokey, why don't you stop? Get off Skid Row. It's gonna burn down. Fucking, you want to interview a firefighter and get behind him. But the guy, he's like a photographer, a videographer, and he's blonde. And he's like one of these LA guys who's like in his early 60s, but looks like he's 40. He's in great shape, and he's like, yeah. So, but I do think it's funny when they interview somebody, and what Adam had just said is true. You know, I want to say like 80% of the videos are, you know, people really on the fringes. Like he spends a lot of time in Appalachia and a lot of time on Skid Row.
Okay, which is like East Coast Skid Row.
Yeah, I mean,
That's sort of like the mountain Skid Row,
very well.
West Virginia.
Oh yeah, exclusively West Virginia. He found some family, and the entire family, they're all brothers and sisters, and they all have sex with each other, and they're all like inbred, and none of them can really talk. It's like basically he went to Appalachia, and the people in Appalachia were like, "You want to really see? You want to take this?
That'll really freak you out.
You want the softest, whitest underbelly you've ever seen in your life? Like, go talk to the Clem horns or whatever." And they show him going up this like fucking like dirty road where like a two-legged dog comes out with its tail in its mouth. Even the dog's inbred, like, and it's just like, and these people ended up being like, they're on a show a lot, but it is funny what Adam had just said is true. The majority of the videos are what I just said. They're Skid Row or there.
Yeah.
But then once in a while you get somebody on there. I think it'd be funny if you got somebody on there and they thought they were doing like a positive one.
Right.
And he's like, you see it later on. He's like, oh my God. Yeah, I went to NYU, but I'm also into fentanyl, and I did give my cousin AIDS. So let's talk about that.
They thought they were going to do one of those cute Chick-fil-A testimonials.
Yeah. What's the meal plan like at Stern School of Business? What is it now? Can you go? Oh my gosh, I've been going through all the college stuff with my daughter, and by the way, I'm going to Akron, Ohio, in a few weeks. Thank you very much.
It's a humble brag.
Hitting all the hot spots.
Sure. Yeah.
Did you know that there is an airport in Akron? So
is that right?
The school we're going to,
municipal.
I mean, Akron is a city of 140,000 people. And so that's not a small city, but for our international friends, Ohio, it's kind of like, it's a weird city, weird state, because it's a big state, but it's kind of like dotted with these towns that are like 150,000 people, like Columbus or Dayton or Toledo or Akron. It's funny because I went to Kent State University very briefly when I was 17. I'm sure I talked about that, but
yeah, you may have mentioned it, but
the only reason why I mentioned it is because I was there. That was when I studied opera very briefly, and I got into the school, and I had a GED, and I didn't really have SATs, but a lot of times, and maybe I'll give the young people out there a tip. If there's a school that you want to go to, let's say you want to go to, I don't know, University of Michigan, right? What you should do is you look through, this doesn't work for everybody, obviously, but if you don't really care about what you're going to study, look through the sort of course curriculum or degrees offered, and find one that like nobody really is going for. Like, I don't know, if there's like grave digger or something like that. And because once you get in the school, you can always transfer out of that particular program.
You just want to get accepted to the school, and then you can.
It's right.
Just like the old switcheroo.
Like my favorite sex, it's a backdoor way to get into a school. So, for example, when I for those of you, I dropped out of high school when I was 16 on my 16th birthday, May 11th. I just stopped going. It was 1989.
Now, do you become truant at that point, or what age are you able to drop out without your parents being accountable?
I dropped out of school a minute I could drop out of school. The day I turned May 11th, I turned 16, and that was the last day that I went to school.
Gotcha. They didn't come looking for you.
No, because at 16 you can stop going.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't.
Yeah. And
no, that was the cutoff.
It was funny. I remember what happened was I was May 11th. I turned 16. I did not go to school, and I went.
That's crazy.
I know.
It's the second you could. I mean, listen. Why waste time if you know what you?
If you're gonna fuck up your life, just get right in the game.
Get right in there.
Just get right in there. Yes. What am I gonna wait a year? But I remember I dropped out of school. I did not go to school. But also understand too that I had already been kicked out of school, so I've been going to like
a different school.
I've been going to night school anyway. I mean,
wow.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit. Hey, real quick, the great James O'Sullivan.
Oh, Jimmy Sullivan, me boyo.
Sent us a chat. He says,
I hear you have a beautiful penis, Jimmy.
No, I was supposed to pretend like I was saying that
you have a beautiful penis.
No, that he has a beautiful penis, but it was supposed to be like like how when you do a live read for AG1 or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The other day, have you ever noticed that your platelets are low? That kind of thing. Jimmy Sullivan's cock is
huge. The great James O'Sullivan said, ever see documentary Wild Wonderful Whites of West Virginia, WV?
No, is it
Is
great?
that a real thing or are you making that up?
I will
Jimmy?
100% watch that.
But listen, I got a message from James that he wanted me to pass on
Let's
to
go.
you. And I think it's okay that I talk about this. I cleared it
Uh-oh.
with him, but he's a known figure
Sure.
in the
res-
sort of,
A respected member
you
of
know,
the community.
yeah, in our orbit. And
Sure.
he wrote me that he wanted me to let you know he's getting a divorce
Oh, wow. Okay.
and he would like to start anew and he would like to work in same gender pornography.
Oh. Well.
Yeah, so he wants to do gay porn.
Is
He wants to
being-
start over and do gay
Is he
porn.
joking or
He's,
is he being?
he's
oh,
joking.
I
told him Brian only ever worked in girl, so you gotta
Yeah.
really learn how to tuck.
Well, I will say this in terms of most of your, if even if you are straight, Jim, as we're going to take this question just seriously because who cares? Most of your, there's something called gay for pay,
Yes,
and a lot of the members of the gay community and
and a lot of the greats from just
Jeff
you know,
are you thinking of Jeff Stryker?
I'm thinking about Peter North in particular. The decorator himself started out gay for pay. I don't know if
Right.
a lot of people know that. But,
Yeah. I think
Mhm.
so. Point is that I don't think your heterosexuality should not hinder your foray into this exciting new career opportunity. So I think though, and maybe Adam, you can take this and tell me what you think, but if you were doing gay for pay, do you think it's easier to be sodomized or to sodomize? Do you think it's easier to receive it? And let me just give you the parameters of why I say that.
That's a great question.
To receive it, all you really have to do is, frankly, and I'm not trying to be funny
Mhm.
here because why
Yeah.
start now, is to bend over and just accept it.
Yeah, take it.
It's going to be painful.
It's a gift.
It's the darkest gift. But you don't have to get yourself hard.
Sure.
I don't think, although I haven't really I've seen a guy fuck a guy in the ass, but I was on a camping trip with my father, but I want to talk about it.
Right.
We were
promised you could keep a secret. That's why you did it.
We were whitewater rafting on the Yakahini
That's
River.
why he chose you.
And, yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
You were tight lips McCarthy,
Yep.
they called you.
My butt cheeks still smell like daddy's cigarettes.
To answer your question, I actually think you're right in that.
But hold on, let me just finish the
Okay. Oh, there's more to the question.
Well, sort of.
Okay.
My thing is, the thing that might bugger this whole thing, and you'll forgive the pun, is that you might be expected to, while you're being sodomized, you might be expected to have a hard on and jerk off to completion. So in my mind, that is probably more difficult than just getting a hard on
100%.
with erectile, with ED medication or whatever it is, and then just fucking a guy in the ass. Like that's probably easier because you think to yourself immediately out of the gate, I go, look, I'll just get fucked in the ass. Like whatever,
Right.
it's fine. I mean, I've had prostate exams. It's not going to feel great, but like, I'm not going to have to worry. I just have to deal with it plus I do
Right.
Kegels anyway. So I'll really milk
Yeah,
that.
you're doing butt Kegels. You do them
I will.
during the duration of the show.
I'll give that guy a bussy ride.
It's in my contract.
Yeah, I'll give him a bussy ride of a lifetime.
God.
My asshole is ribbed. So, but like my point is like,
Yeah.
could I just lay over or lay on my stomach or whatever it is and just accept it? And then, at some point it's going to be over.
Mhm.
That's fine. But if I'm expected to like get on my hands and knees and like jerk myself off and come and like, I don't know, the guy occasionally is going to like, whatever. If I'm going to get fucked in the ass and also jerk off, that
Yeah.
seems like rubbing
Oh.
your head and patting your belly or whatever. So my feeling is if you're going to throw that in the mix, I'd rather be the top. And for those of you who don't know, the top is the one putting the penis in.
Sure.
So what about you?
But
But you understand what I'm saying?
picture. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's two totally different skill sets.
Yes.
And I'm wondering what one would cause more psychological trauma.
Oh, at this point, that's the least of my problems.
Well, I'm just wondering, like, well, but hear me out. The waking up the next morning knowing that I got a paycheck to, be sodomized, or which to answer your actual question, I think would be much easier.
By the way,
Just lube up and
But it just shows how
It's
adorable.
over.
It shows adorable what a career freelancer you are. You think you're getting a paycheck? That's a Cash App, okay? Or
Well, I
or
figuratively,
or maybe a
figuratively.
pile of sweaty singles. You're like, why
Right.
is this money so wet?
Right.
You know, like it's just $380 in
Right.
singles, and that's by the way for 2 pops.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have any issue with it in terms of, I mean, I don't think I'd like it, but I don't think like if somebody put their dick in my ass, I don't think I'd be like, I'm gay. It's not like being a vampire. I don't think I'd be like, I'm gay now. Like, I definitely
No,
Yeah.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like what would be
emotional trauma
Yeah,
scar.
just in
Yeah.
terms of like what would, because I think being the top
Yes.
would be kind of more like, all right, you conquered.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I think the amount of mental gymnastics that you would have to do, I don't know that I'm capable of that.
yeah, but I would almost posit and say that it's almost gayer to fuck a guy in the ass. Like it, because number one, like, I don't know, like you're looking at, it's a guy, there's balls down, unless it's like some really smooth, like a lady boy or something, then I guess maybe, but like it just to like if I don't have to look at you and if I'm laying there and I'm just got this fucking some
Right.
guy's dick in my butt and it's
Sure.
going in and out, like, all right.
Well, it's interesting. I remember watching a thing about sex around the world, and it was like about how in God, some Middle Eastern country they like actually it's since it's illegal
yes,
to be a sodomite,
right.
but they only consider it illegal if you're a catcher. So they have this device
Mhm.
that I don't know what kind of scenario would lead up to this,
Go
but
ahead.
they suspect that you
Are
have been
receiving,
or a gaylord,
Uh-huh.
right? And they use this device to measure. They put it up your butt to measure whether or not there's been something in there, and if you have, they arrest you.
How funny would it be, like they have this device, and what is the device? Well,
I
it's
don't
a 6-inch light tan.
It's the officer's
vape-
cock.
Yeah, exactly. My guy. If you come when I fucking the
They're
ass,
like,
you're-
we're just making sure, everybody,
nobody wants to be here, sir.
that
Yeah.
Allah would
Excuse me, Fahed, would you mind coming out of your
Mhm.
Bedouin tent for a minute? We need to
right.
probe you with our flesh probes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like I said, standing behind a guy and like grabbing his haunches and like just
yeah, no, I'm with you
right.
actually on that. It just, you take it, you sort of get it out of
It's
the
like
way.
your medicine. Yeah. You just take your medicine.
You get all filled up.
And I'm going to throw a real curveball at you.
Mm.
I would rather fuck a guy and then get fucked than have to make out with a guy for like a half an hour. Like if I had to like make, there's something.
Oh God.
Yeah.
The stubble.
Yes.
Oh God.
Just all of it. Yeah. I don't know. And again, gay guys, if you're listening, you can have all the fun. It's no judgment on what you're up to.
Oh no, 100%.
And
But
I
I feel like there's a physiological or an actual thing in us that is
Yeah. Yeah.
stops us from doing that, because if there wasn't, why wouldn't we just do that? And
Well-
then the birth rate would drop.
Well, here's the thing too. It's like you always hear about, like, okay, like when I was a kid, there was this boy named Tommy.
Yeah, this older boy.
Always a boy named Tom. He was older, as a matter of
He's
fact.
behind a restaurant.
He fast food restaurant, but yeah, I mean they had
Yeah.
food.
Sure.
No, this boy Tommy, he lived across the street from my grandmother, and he was an only child, and they had an above ground pool. Again, I mean a name drop.
Right.
but
Yeah.
I would go over
Sweet.
and hang out with him a lot. I go to my grandmom's and I go visit them. And the people that lived directly across the street from my grandmother, they were like this. They had a family. They had adopted these African kids, like 3 or 4 African kids. And I remember, like, I would go to their house to hang out, and they would drink like strong coffee with condensed milk in it, like over ice. I thought it was the weirdest. It was like this.
Okay.
very,
That's like almost like Thai style.
yeah,
They do
kind of.
that.
Yeah, this was very African-y. It was like they
Okay.
would go over and
Oof.
that'll
That'll give you a headache.
yeah, and they
That
would
stuff.
and they would pour it in the plate in their lip and just sip it all day. Just
Okay.
like
Wow.
a little saucer.
Saucer
Yeah.
in their lips. Sure.
No, so anyway, but those kids, they were fine. But this kid, Tommy, I remember one time I went to his house and we started to get older. I think he's probably 2 years older than I was. And I was probably 11 and he was 13. And I got over and we used to do this thing. You ever go to an above ground pool and you go
in my backyard growing up.
Did you have one?
My We did for a brief period, I
Okay.
believe. Yeah,
till a lightning bolt hit it or something.
probably.
Something really like.
But I remember it like blew like the fucking
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
did you ever
on.
get together with your friends and make a whirlpool?
I don't know. I was
Well-
so young when this. I just remember it being there.
Well, what we would do, you would get some kids together, and you would all stand on the perimeter of the pool, like in the pool, and everyone would kind of swim or walk really quickly in one direction. And after a few minutes of going that way,
Okay. Yeah.
you generate like a whirlpool.
I do remember doing that, like in hotels and in actual pools later in life.
Yeah, but this was a good. It almost has to be perfectly round.
I'd be afraid an above ground couldn't take the.
Well, yeah, trust me.
Like
it was,
tip this
Yeah.
puppy.
Yeah, there was one fat kid in my old
Holy
neighborhood.
shit.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. But anyway, point is I go to Timmy's and we're hanging out. One time I go to his house, and like I said, I was maybe 11, so he was 13 or maybe 14. And I see him. I go over and he hands me a scuba mask, and he has one too. And he goes, "I want to play a game." And I
Oh
said-
no!
I was like, "All right, what's this game?"
I feel like statistically that being
Yeah.
something gay is like
yeah, whenever
80%.
whenever anybody hands you amateur diving equipment in an above ground pool and
I
says,
want to play a game.
"Yeah, it's not going to end well." Yeah. You're not going to play Jacques Cousteau, and he's not going to throw a bunch of doubloons in the water and be like,
Mhm.
"Whoever picks up the most nickels, mother said we'll go in and get ice creams."
Right.
It doesn't go like that. So the guy, he goes, "I want to play a game." So he gives me my thing and his thing, and he goes, "I want to." The game is called Looksies. And I
Oh,
said,
God.
"All right,
Oh, Jesus.
I'm already. Hey, I'm in. I'm not going. I'm not leaving."
You're not a
and-
quitter.
I said, "Well, what did we do?" He goes, "And the in-ground, above ground pool. Pardon the name. I'm trying to make it sound fancy. The
Mhm.
above ground
Mhm.
pool had like a ladder on the outside on the ladder to get in. And
Nice.
the idea was to sit on the ladder on the side that was in the water, and you would pull your swimsuit down to your ankles, and then Timmy or Tommy rather would look at your penis with his mask on, and however long
Yeah.
you could hold your breath and longer you could hold. I don't know. There's something about holding your breath. But
Yeah, it was incentive based.
that wasn't really the the reason for the game. So he goes, it's called Looksies. So he goes, "I'll start." And I was like, and I knew, by the way, I'm 11, but I'd already been involved in some
Right.
pretty weird shit
You-
already.
it's
Like,
almost like you were kind of begging for it.
well,
I don't want to victim blame, but you were ripe for the.
yeah, I was wearing a sexy little number, and this is
Yeah.
before I started wearing a t-shirt to the pool because I thought that maybe looked skinnier.
Mhm.
Yeah, that worked. But this kid, so I said, all right, so I get up on the ladder and then I pull my underwear down. And of course, like I don't have any pubic hair. I mean, it's just like, it's like, and it hadn't grown in yet. It wasn't like now where I shave it with a Mach
Right.
5.
Tufts.
Yeah. And I show the guy, Tommy, and he looks under the thing. And then he goes, "All right, now my turn." And I'm like, and then, by the way, I'm not having any fun. Like I'm just kind of like, can we just make a whirlpool, please? And,
Yeah.
you know,
right.
and go walk up to the firefighter museum. It's right up the street by the Peppermill restaurant. So I get up now. It's his turn. Now he gets on the ladder. He pulls his bottom. Well, he's 13. Guy's cock is like, 9 inches long. And he's got long, weird black hairs floating everywhere.
Wow. He's
So
a shower.
I barely looked at it. I went down there. I came up and I was like, all right, I saw it. And he's like, "You didn't go down there long enough. Like you need to beat my record." And I was like, oh
Oh
God.
my God.
So,
But you were he just wanted you to look at it.
well, that was the gateway game. I mean, I could
Yeah.
tell.
You think he was
oh,
grooming
yeah.
you, but he
Oh,
was
yeah.
your age, or he was a little older. You said.
But it's a critical. Listen, when you're 11
Wow.
and somebody's 13, it's
Sure.
a critical.
Oh, that's a
two-
lifetime.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, I'm 30.
Huge.
Yeah, I'm 35. He's 33. It's
Mhm.
cool.
Right.
You don't remember dial-up internet. No,
Right,
it's like
right.
it's
Holy
a
shit.
it's a big deal. 2 years. So I was like, well, I saw as much as I wanted to see, and then I think he could tell like I wasn't really on board.
Looksies.
I just because you know what Looksies was going to turn into feelsies and then blowsies.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. And then go to Provincetownsies and get an Airbnbs
Yeah.
and spend the weekendsies having
Right.
sexies. I don't know. So anyway,
For sure.
so the guy so I basically got out of the water and I was like, hey, this was so much fun. But
Listen, I had a great time.
yeah, I've got to
call you.
I got to go to the African kids. They're teaching me. We're gonna go play Gazelle, which is where I look at their dicks. But I could look at this whole neighborhood's full of people.
There's different ways for you to look at people's dicks. Hey, we got to read some super chats.
Okay, so 2 seconds. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Or do you want to explain another?
Well, all I want to say, I'll wrap it up with
another
Tommy.
way?
Yeah, listen, I can
This is
give me
really
your-
important stuff.
Oh, I have plenty of children's sex stories.
Okay, all right. Get it out of your system.
If only you can't
Right,
fart
if
out
only that was-
dreams.
yeah, if that were possible.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be
No,
a different person.
all I was gonna say is like the next time I saw Tommy was like maybe 6 months later. I waited till let's just say the weather got a little colder before I
For
ventured
sure,
over there
For
again.
sure.
Tommy-
He's like, good news, Brian. I got an ice
I was
house.
just gonna say
He's
that.
like,
Got a
he's like,
Brian,
you ever played Igloo Looksies?
you ever go? Listen, I got a bathtub. He just pulls out an ice cube and he's like, "Put this up my ass and suck it out."
Yeah,
Yeah.
this kid's not going to be thwarted
Yeah.
by cold weather.
Hey Brian, you want to play Aquaman? What is that? That's where you suck all the piss out of my penis until there's none left, and then you spit it up my
Holy shit.
asshole.
It's so funny how many different variations you hear of these stories
Yeah.
that people have, and it's always like some sort of it started with a game and we were under the bed, and then I don't get much further than that because I already finished. But
Yeah, right.
But I've heard different versions
Well,
of this story.
the next time I went over, it was right before, I want to say it was his 14th birthday, and I went over to his bedroom, and he opened a drawer and he had all these cigarettes in his his kid was a mess. He had all these cigarettes in his like
Cigarettes
that he
and
was hiding.
mackerel and cup of soup.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
was
Like a,
bartering with the other inmates.
like a hobo.
Jesus Christ.
we play checkers with ripped up cans of Lipton cup of noodles.
Jesus Christ.
So he had all these cigarettes, and he's like, we're having my birthday party, and we're gonna smoke." And I remember, and I was like, "Ooh, I was always scared of that." I was like, "I
Yeah.
don't want anything to do with that."
fucking A.
So that was it. And then, like years later, when I went to this Towson High, the school that I ended up getting kicked out of, I saw him at school, and he was like a real burnout. He had like kind of
100%.
a mullet,
Yeah.
and like longer hair.
Mhm.
Right. His jaw was constantly Cooks' side from sucking all these dicks.
He was already like probably some kind of male hustler.
Yeah, he looked like a gay hustler.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
He
that's crazy.
got so bad he would carry around a waiting pool with him just behind him.
Yes.
Hey, anybody want to play looksies? Just I need a faucet
Yeah.
and about 30 minutes to fill this.
I just give me a hair dryer in 20 minutes and we'll get let me blow this puppy up.
Who do we
Okay,
have? Go ahead.
the great James O'Sullivan writes, this show always finds a way to go gay. Today it was me, feels good. So that's
Listen, we're
that is
generous.
nice. Yeah, it is good when
We're-
when you're the sort of catalyst.
I always
for-
hate it when I feel like people are they don't let other people, have the fun. And
Right.
it's
Yeah,
always,
exactly.
"Hey, you have the fun too. We're all-"
And then James also write the Wild World of Whites, the documentary he was talking about, is real.
okay.
He says made by the Jackass guys.
Oh no
So
shit.
let me what
So
was
it's
it
kind
called?
of it's relatively new then.
Yeah, I actually want to see this.
Yeah, I'll watch it 100%. I will
Ever
totally.
seen the documentary Wild Wonderful Whites of West Virginia?
It seems a little exploitive, the name of it already. Which, by the way, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, no. This is a bit of a deep cut.
Real quick, I'm not done.
Sure.
Tio Hank writes, enough of this gay stuff. I'll see you guys at Kill Kevin in AC Saturday, February 8th. Guess there's an event happening
What's
in
kill,
Atlantic City.
kill Kevin? Is that
like Kill Tony.
Oh,
I think
gosh.
they should have called it Kill Kevy.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's Kill Tony.
Yeah, that could have
Plus,
been.
it's funny to call somebody Kevy,
How about
like
call
a
it-
grown man.
Yeah. How about I would say kill Chad's career, but there's no real career.
Yeah, it's
so-
Chad's the one putting behind it. Basically.
Oh boy.
So, yeah.
But whatever venue, make sure you run that credit card if there's a deposit before the event. I don't know how many dishes he's going to have to wash. So that's interesting. On February 8th, I'm probably going to be
February
like in Akron or something.
Yeah, you'll probably be looking at a college.
I had a buddy of mine, Bruce, shout out to Bruce.
Sure, Bruce the douche.
Yeah, he hit me up. Oh, really?
That's what he's called on
Okay.
MLC.
Oh, poor guy.
So people know.
Okay, Bruce the douche. There you go. So,
Bruce the
because his friend Paco, who's done the show,
Mhm.
Paco and I
also did the disclaimer, the Spanish
he
language
did,
disclaimer.
That's right. He's all over
at the
the
beginning
show.
of the show.
He's the
Niños.
he's the Tommy of our show.
Mhm.
But he and I went to see Kyle Dunnigan on earlier this week. I think it was on Tuesday, and we went to see Kyle Dunnigan. And Adam and I talked. I mean, who cares? We talked about it before the show. Kyle Dunnigan is on tour, and I happened to get the email on the 7th, and it was like the next day. Kyle Dunnigan's
Mhm.
coming, and it was
Mhm.
it was like 2 miles from my house. So I typically wouldn't go to something, but it was only $30, and I'm a fan. I mean, I told Adam already that it was fun and it was certainly entertaining, but there was very much of a visual component to the show, which I didn't realize. So
Yeah.
for me, that's lost on me. And Paco was having more fun than I was, but it was funny. I think Kyle Dunnigan's very funny. I wanted to hear an hour of stand up, but it was like he had a,
It was like a whole multimedia kind of variety.
yeah,
show.
it was there was a piano player, there was a guitar player, there was a drummer, and there were different songs, and it was all really funny and clever and blah blah blah. But there were like multimedia screens. So I was just kind of like, all right, I feel like I got like a third of the show. So
Right.
and right, I could have been really annoying and been like, excuse me, what is the ADA?
Is this seeing impaired
Yeah.
accessible? Yeah,
Yeah.
you could have been that guy.
What is the adaptive audio?
Really gone.
I'd like audio description. It's just Kyle Dunnigan by law has to whisper in my ear like what the screen is.
he would do it too.
Yeah, it's me.
He'd be hilarious.
I would be
He's
actually-
a funny guy.
Would actually
Hey,
be
I got
very
an
fun.
idea for a live show that we're gonna do. It's called Looksies Live.
Yeah,
Adam and Brian Looksies Live.
yeah. You just show me your dick.
It's
on
going
it.
to be. It's also in Atlantic City, February 8th.
Oh yeah. Well, you wanted to go up against it,
Yeah, I think so. I
Go
think.
again.
I think. I
Chad's show.
think we're gonna.
I
We're
mean,
gonna be competing.
so what is this Kevin
the-
show? Is it a performance
I have
or
no idea.
okay?
I think it's just gonna be like a live. I mean, maybe it has like a Kill Tony element where, because like Kill Tony is they bring up like open micers or maybe it's not open micers, but they bring up comedians and they do stand up and then
Ooh.
they sort of critique it,
Okay, like a Ray
In like a-
DeVito or somebody like that. Maybe,
but
maybe
in like a funny, they kind of roast you, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. Well,
But also if you do well, they give you your flowers.
well, I wouldn't be too worried about that.
Right. But I
Uh,
don't know if that's maybe they're just calling it Kill Kevin
Is there a
as a
room?
goof.
I wonder if there's a room block. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if you can.
I doubt it.
Can you stay at the Tropicana for like 100?
It's I know they do it at the Borgata.
Oh.
That's not where the show is. The show is like someplace near the boardwalk that Chad performed at last time.
Oh. Sure, it's not under the boardwalk, like by a defunct saltwater
I think it's
taffy
behind
store.
the Bennigan's.
Right,
I think
exactly.
is what I read.
Well, in the summer we do saltwater taffy, but in the winter we have horrible comedy. So it's what we do. It's our,
Oh, somebody says it's Ray doing comedy and then them mocking him. I don't know if that's real or not. but
all right. Well, I'm sure it'd be funny. It'd be fun.
maybe they're just gonna watch his. I don't know if Ray. I don't think Ray's gonna do it live. That would be funny if he did do it live.
Why
and
wouldn't
then-
Ray do it live?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess why not? I don't know.
I
I
mean-
feel like you answered my question.
Why? I mean,
Sure.
yeah. Like, are you talking about like simulcast? Like they're going to set up like an audio video?
No,
truck?
like he's just there live because he's gonna be there. So maybe he's just gonna
I
do
know.
comedy and then they're gonna go.
What, does he have an
You
issue
stink.
about performing in front of people?
No, but I just would think this would be a setup to sort of be mocked.
I say. Well,
You know,
I mean, here's the thing: if you're going by that Kill Tony thing, if he's funny and people enjoy it, they won't
Right.
bust his balls. So
yeah, they don't, and it's actually like that. I think that thing has actually made people's careers, like because people have gone on, and if you're good, they're like, "Holy shit, you're good," and then you get
You get-
recognition.
You get anointed by the Austin
Yes,
comedy
they-
elite.
They swear you in
Yeah.
with a
Joe
brisket taco.
Joe DeRosa just did a show earlier this week at the Mothership, and with
Mm-hmm.
and he said on the bill where it was Joe hosting, and then Theo Vaughn and Seth Gillis, and then Seth Gillis, sorry,
Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis, Tom Zagora, a bunch of
Are
like
you fucking up these names?
no
Tom
Z-
Zagora.
no Tom Segura. That one I meant to say.
Sound like he said
I-
Zagora.
I didn't say Seth to be cunty. I forgot his name was Shane.
Gotcha.
I-
That guy.
Seth-
I think would be
Yeah.
funny if you fucked up all the names. on purpose.
on purpose.
Seth
Well,
Goris,
yeah,
Tom
yeah.
Zagora.
Joe Reagan,
Joe-
right? Yeah, and then Tony Heathcliff or the fuck I
Tony
can't.
Heathcliff. That made the.
Yeah,
That was a great clip.
That was a
by
great
the
clip.
way.
Yeah.
What did you call it? Inglorious Bastard?
no, I
No.
call like I couldn't think of the
Incredulous.
name for. Now I still can't think of
Impractical Jokers. and
Impractical
you called
Jokers.
them. I think you called them
it. Like illegal. I don't know. It was like
incredulous.
it had a vowel at the beginning of the, and then it had another vowel.
But it was-
it was two words.
But it was one of those things where I couldn't recognize what you were even trying
Yes.
to say, which made it
for some reason
good, clean
because
fun.
whenever I think of Impractical Jokers, I think of Inglorious Bastards
Sure.
for some reason.
Mhm.
And then that's about it. So I mean, that's all it really is. But no, it was all these, these big name people,
Gotcha.
and then Joe was hosting, and that was so he's been down in Austin for a couple of weeks, and he said he's having a good time. He's like down there,
Right.
doing it. Very cold, apparently. It's 40 degrees in Austin, which is
Yikes.
very
I
unusual.
feel like I went there in fall and it was hot as fuck.
It's hot as fuck there, like 10 months out of the year. Like,
Yeah.
it's not, it's not a part of the country that's supposed to get that cold. So
Mhm.
it is. But anyway, yeah, well, all right, have fun on the 8th. I mean, we'll see what's going on. I would the last time I was in Atlantic City, I stayed in a hotel that was such a dump that when I had to actually leave a deposit for the sheets.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was like in the summer. I was with Paul Denon, and he'd never been in Atlantic City. For some reason, my wife was like out of the.
What do you know what the hotel was or motel?
It was the Ritz Carlton. No, it was like
Rich Crackers.
Yeah. It was the rife with Crackerton. No, it was. I don't know. It was like a
Holy
little
shit.
shitty motel.
Right.
But I mean, and that really doesn't narrow it down. I mean, for those of you who've never been there before, even people that have been there, Atlantic City is a fucking dump. I mean, it is a straight up dump. It is a gross part of the country. They call it the slum by the sea. I mean, I'm not speaking out of turn. If you're somebody
they're aware.
there's nobody that can defend Atlantic City. Be like, no, it's nice. No, it isn't. If you live
What
there,
about White House subs?
yeah, exactly. Or that weird Italian restaurant where you like have to knock 3 times and you have to
don't know about
enter
that.
through a car wash or something.
Holy
Atlantic
shit.
City has these weird little fucking shitty places,
Really? Seafood speakeasy.
something like that. Yeah, bring your own crab legs. Our freezer broke, so eat quick.
Right.
All right, is that ammonia? No, it's just the smell of
Eat
the.
before the health inspector
Yeah,
gets here.
exactly. Hurry up!
Holy
Everyone,
shit.
everyone, stop chewing. He's here.
The letter on the front is like dropping as you're eating.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
chaining
yeah.
it from
Right.
an A to a B.
Come- Luckily, though, the health inspector has a peg leg like a pirate, so it takes
Right.
him a little longer to get down the stairs. Arr, arr, yeebie. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, Atlantic City is.
Yeah, it's very sad. I've only been the one time. That was, boy, two years ago, and I thought it was gonna be sad in a fun way.
No,
it
it's
was
not.
It was just regular sad.
But what's weird about Atlantic City is in the summer it's packed. All of
Hmm.
those Philly nutheads,
Right.
They all.
But the beach is it beach?
The beach is gorgeous.
Oh, it is.
I
I,
mean,
thought
it-
it would be like going to Coney Island. Or
no,
something.
I mean, here's
Like
the
a
thing.
city beach.
Coney Island's beach is actually gorgeous. If it wasn't on the fucking, if it wasn't in Brooklyn,
well, and if the Brooklyn wasn't,
and actually Coney Island being what it
didn't
is,
leave their needles there.
well, the water in Coney Island is actually cleaner now than it's been
Oh,
in
it
like
is?
80
Oh,
years.
wow.
Well, there's no more like industry out there. Like,
Gotcha.
80 years ago, they would just, I don't know, they would just take a bunch of trash and throw it in the ocean and fucking, whatever. Let Greenland figure it out.
Gotcha.
But they, it's the kind of thing where Atlantic City has a really long, beautiful boardwalk. But yeah, this hotel, Paul and I went, and it was a motel, so the door went out to the street. And
Okay.
I remember when we checked in, but it was this summer, so the fucking room was like $300 a
And
night.
that was why you were staying in a shitty hotel, probably
Couldn't-
because there was nothing available.
Couldn't get anything.
Right. Okay,
know,
that makes sense.
Yeah. And so it was funny. So we got there, and the front desk person was behind bulletproof glass. And I was like, I had to go through like a speaker and be like, "Hi, we have a reservation." Like, it's all crackly, like reservation. And then the guy was like,
But the guy also had a tracheotomy, so it was like extra.
yeah, it was double,
Yes.
which actually sounded beautiful.
He had to push the button simultaneously as you push the button on
Yeah,
the outside.
sparks are flying everywhere. Right, look like the scene from The Natural when the ball goes through the
Right.
score.
The lights are dimming as
Da,
you're-
da, 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 da. Yeah, no, the guy. But I remember during the transaction, I remember he goes, "Do you have sheets?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And he goes, "You have to rent the sheets. It's a deposit for the sheets." So we had to like leave, like I think it was like $50 for the sheets, and the sheets came, and the sheets were stamped all over.
But they
them.
don't take They don't take like a credit card for incidentals, like a regular.
No, there was no mini bar.
Or was there an incidentals plus a sheet deposit?
Yeah.
Do you
Instead
suppose?
of a Toblerone in the room, he was eating like a lollipop, and he's like, "You want a lick?"
Mm-hmm. They should have a partnership with like TJ Maxx or something, to where they get a kickback. You bring your sheets,
Oh, I see what
You
you're saying.
bring a nice pair of like
Well-
irregular Tommy Hilfiger sheets.
What I thought was funny was these sheets had the name of the
I love that.
of the property.
I would like to buy
Well,
some
that
of
was the
those
thing.
sheets.
What makes me laugh is like, they didn't start out like that. They started out,
Oh,
you
no.
know, with probably not having to rent the sheets, in the 50s when like, you'd go there to go see Dio or
Right.
Balma, right.
Right.
Hey, I went and saw Shana Na at Atlantic City, and we
Mhm.
went to a hotel, and it was so nice. But I remember we had to make it was two queen beds, and when you show up in a hotel room and it's just like a mattress and it's just there,
Wow.
yeah. Although I do remember the mattress had a pad on it, so that was something.
Remote control on a chain.
No, but the TV I believe was I think it had like a bike lock on it or
Okay,
something.
yes.
Yeah, we were.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
I wonder if that was a place you could rent by the hour.
not in the summer. I mean,
Not in the summer.
here's the thing,
right.
in
I
the-
bet
oh yeah, yeah. In the winter,
cooler months.
oh yeah, yeah. In the winter, you
They're
go down
turning
there.
some tricks.
Well, you can go down there in the winter and probably pay $20 a night or something. I mean, you can go like live there or something. But it was right off the boardwalk. But look, I'm not overselling it at all. But the funniest thing about that trip was when Paul and I believe, I don't know, is it called Collins Avenue? I don't know. There's like a main drag on the beach on the ocean side of and I remember like Paul and I were walking down the street and we're like just kind of like do and I hear somebody go, Brian McCarthy, and I go, oh no, who do I know down here?
Yikes.
And it was when I used to do the wrestling. It was one of the wrestling girls, her boyfriend, and I guess his family owned a strip club, which was like right where we
sweet.
were. So he was like,
Oh,
come
that
with-"
might be the one right around the corner from White House Subs.
It is probably
Okay.
There aren't that many strip clubs in Atlantic City.
Okay.
And this one was just funny because, it was an all nude place. So of course, because it's so classy, you buy your alcohol next door. So
With your sheets.
yeah, the guy went in. I was wearing the sheets like Lawrence of Arabia.
Yes.
I wanted to show everyone how we were players. A lot of people would have just slept on that mattress pad, but
Hey,
not
playa.
not
Yeah.
Paul and I. We
No.
went for the $20 sheet rental.
Oh yeah, you're
But-
high rollers.
Yeah, so I remember we went in and the guy we bought I don't know,
Got a couple of whales coming in.
Yeah, 2 cases of beer. Then we sat down and we sat down with him and these dancers came over and it was a very urban experience.
Nice.
And yeah, you would have loved it.
I never went to one there. I wanted to, but
It's just fucking I cannot imagine being a winter, although I imagine they still get bachelor parties probably like to Atlantic City in the winter on the weekends. You know what I mean? I can't imagine.
maybe
That has to be the only
Yeah.
business there.
sure.
I can't.
Guidos get married in the winter too, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you don't have to you can have a bachelor party. You can do it like 6 months before your wedding, I guess, or something.
Oh.
And it, a lot of times it's certainly less expensive, but yeah, I can't imagine a grimmer room than a Tuesday night at an Atlantic City fucking
Golly.
strip club. That was that was a guy, my friend Carl. He had his boat down at it was actually called, it probably is still called that, the Donald Trump Marina. And he had his boat in a slip, and there was a guy with his boat next to it. And the boat, how boats have names. This was EATIN with an apostrophe. No, EITINS with an apostrophe over the S and NATCH. So the name of his boat was Eaton Snatch.
Yeah.
And I met the guy, and you want to talk about a guy that looked like he owned a boat called Eaton Snatch.
Mhm.
He had on
He looked the part.
oh yeah, he was like 70. He was so tan. He looked like Wesley Snipes, and he was like, "Yeah, you get my boat." He was like from Jersey, some fucking,
Right.
He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, it's like eating pussy, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, it's fucking great." I
Eden Snatch.
I get the joke, buddy. Hey, didn't someone say that you should get married? Should we talk about that now or the Patreon?
Yeah, Jason Beanie.
Jason Beanie.
I mean, where did he send you that message?
That's a good question. I don't know.
It looked like it was Facebook Messenger.
I think you're
something,
probably right. So,
But he probably listens to the regular show.
Probably.
Yeah, Jason Beanie.
Jason, as
We
you can,
talked about on the
yes, previous
Patreon.
Yes. So on the Patreon, which if you're not a member, well, I don't know what you're thinking. On the Patreon, Adam said that
Yeah. I forget how it came up. You asked me
Well,
some kind of question.
I proposed to you, and it got super awkward. And then you were
Right.
like, "My girlfriend wants to marry me," and then
Uh-huh.
I was like, "Well, okay, I guess I can
Yeah.
wait." I'm playing the long game.
You would ask me how long I could hold my breath.
Yeah. Want to play looksies? You
And then
you go down there, and there's like a beautiful men's wedding band around my dick.
around your
Yeah, I'm like, pull it off,
Wow.
yank it off.
Yes.
I want this love to hurt. Yeah. And it's like way squeezing. So like the middle of my penis is like way in like a corset. Yeah. So we were talking about Adam, whether or not he wasn't getting married or not. So when I saw that message, I sent it to Adam and
Yeah. And he
was-
said, wait, he said,
he said, get
oh,
married.
wait, you probably, I could look it up.
We're going to look it up right
because
now.
you texted it
I did.
to me.
Now I at 51, I know how to do a screenshot. Isn't that great?
Wow, look at that.
Uh-huh. It's like you're doing a show with C3PO.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote, Adam should marry that girl. All girls are fucked up, and you just need one you can laugh with at the end of the day. Okay.
All right.
Well, listen.
Any movement on that? Did you ruminate on this the last week, thinking about getting married?
No, I mean, basically, the for people that didn't see the Patreon,
Right.
I just basically, I forget what came up, but I just basically said, like, this is, for me, this is the fork in the road.
Yes.
I've had maybe a bit of the Peter Pan.
Well,
Maybe not by New York City standards, though.
look,
Guys like settle down at 55
yes.
sometimes.
I don't know.
But-
Listen, relationships are subjective. They're different.
Sure.
Everybody's relationship is different. But
Right.
what we talked about, if memory serves, is that your girlfriend would like to get married.
Yeah, and it's we're coming up on 5 years. So it's
Yes.
getting to the point where I don't need to like propose, but it's just I have to like
Fisher-
decide internally if I'm going to do that. And my whole thing was I got to make this work or I have
Yes.
to like be just the weird uncle.
Well, what the takeaway was, and you're very self-aware, it was either like I'm either
Right.
going to ask this girl to marry me, and which that is the trajectory that that after 5 years, you're right. It's
Yeah,
either,
you got to either
one
you
or the
know.
other. And if that doesn't work, from there, you're probably going to
full on like I want to make porn.
Yeah.
I want to get weird. I'm
Yeah.
going to call James O'Sullivan.
yeah.
Probably
You
I'm
guys
going to
can-
cast James O'Sullivan.
You guys can dock.
Yeah, like
Uh,
I don't care what kind. It's as long as it's weird.
You're like, I'm into
I'm in.
sounding videos.
Yes.
I just put car antennas up my dickhead and electrify the inside of my urethra wall.
Mhm.
Yeah, no. And I mean, so I think it's a little dramatic. I mean, I know we're kidding, but like, I do think at 43, if you say to your girlfriend, I'm paraphrasing, listen, bae, yeah, no, I mean, boo, I ain't feeling going down, the big old aisle with you. Know what I'm saying? Yeah, that kind of thing.
You
But
feel
no.
me?
You feel me? Your dog, this dog's got to bark. What? Okay. It's kind of a rough life. No, but like what I mean is after 5 years,
Yeah.
you say to her, listen, if you want to get married and have a family and all that, I love you and that's great, but that's not my trajectory. So I feel like it's disingenuous to continue if you think that's the direction we're going to go in. I don't want you to burn your 30s because she's about 10 years younger than you, give or take.
Like 8.
8 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't want now. And so she says, well, I love you and this is going to hurt, but we're going to have to see each other. Then from there, the reality
I'm
is
going to go,
even,
shh.
yeah,
Just go.
I've already packed your shit. I called you an Uber XL because all of your
name's not on the lease.
yeah, exactly. I've already. I'm
Get
keeping.
the fuck out.
I'm keeping all your CDs. She's
What
like,
if
don't
I
even-
just turned really
Yeah.
your CDs?
Yeah.
I'm keeping your Alanis Morissette CDs.
I need to use your PlayStation 3 as a DVD player, so I'm keeping that. You never use it anyway. She's like sobbing. All you're doing is talking about her PlayStation 3.
Right.
She's like, I don't even know what I had that. You're like, that's my point. That's why we should break up.
right.
You're so stupid.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, so the point is like, even if, let's say that happens on a Tuesday, even if on Wednesday you met somebody, and again, we're just bullshitting, but like if you met somebody on Wednesday that was incredible and beautiful and for some reason checked all these boxes and you were like, I'm going to throw caution to the wind and just get married, you're still 4 years out, which would mean you wouldn't be getting married until you're 47. So I'm
Are
agreeing
you saying
with
if
you.
I started over?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
If you started over again,
I don't know that I would.
that's what I'm saying. I think you're being,
yeah.
it's a very realistic thing to say to yourself, okay, I'm 43. If this doesn't work out, then I'm not going to.
Well, a lot of people do that when they've been married to like they get married, they have a kid or whatever, they get a divorce, then they go, I'm not doing that again. And
Right.
I weirdly respect that.
Right.
I mean, unless you're with somebody and they're really like they need that, then I say great. But I do think that there is a self-awareness to being like, it didn't fucking work out. And statistically, marriage doesn't, right? So
yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying statistically, I'm not
Right.
like saying anything about yours
No,
or,
no, I
or
understand,
whatever,
I
but
understand, yeah.
but it just the numbers are not really in your favor.
At best, it's 50-50.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the number, I want to say it's like 80% fail or something like that.
Whoa,
It's
no,
crazy.
Really? Wow.
The new it's
I
I
better
don't know,
get-
maybe I'm reading like
I
a
better
weird
Get, I better get divorced.
He-Man
I wanna- Yeah, no.
woman hater propaganda, but it's probably not it, but it's like you're probably right. It's probably like
I
50-50,
think
but
it's
that's even kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure. It is.
Yeah.
No, 100%, absolutely. And I also do. And again, look, people can do whatever they want. I don't care really, fundamentally. But like, my opinion is, you get married if you want to get married to somebody. If you're going to start a family, or, and this is much less romantic, if there's like, if you need like their health insurance or
Sure.
or
Mhm.
some sort of a family, planning or estate or something.
Right.
That actually makes
Right.
of all the reasons to get married, that is the one that actually makes the most sense.
Right. They're just business
and that's it.
reasons.
But then, like, when someone gets married, like if you've been married, people like my father's been married 4 times, and his 4th wife was adamant about her parents not knowing that he was married 3 times before.
Oh,
So
wow.
they sort of did some creative math somehow, and they erased one of the marriages. I believe
You can do that?
No, I mean, you can if you just tell your parents. And you want
If you can tell you,
I mean, you can lie. Say you're gonna lie.
so what you're describing is just lying to old
Well,
people.
you want to really go down the rabbit hole?
You don't need LifeLock for that.
Allegedly, and I don't give a fuck what my father's going to sue me. But the story the way that I understand the story, okay, is that when my grandmother passed away, okay, and if anybody I'm related to, my dad's side, is listening to this, number one, I don't think they are, but
Yeah. Pick up
and
a phone.
if I'm, yeah, right. Actually, you know what? Don't.
Put the phone down.
However it all
what I
is
meant
right.
to say.
Yeah, however it all is right now, it's fine. But what I'm trying to say is, I believe the story in my head is my grandmother passed away, and then when they wrote the obituary, okay, for my grandmother to be in the Baltimore paper, my father's 4th wife, the one he's married to now, she contacted the newspaper and had them edit out my father's 2nd marriage to the woman who was actually the mother of my half sister. Wow. So this woman was so concerned about how it looked, like, right. And it's funny because you can say to somebody, I've been married 3 times, and you can go, oh, all right. Mm-hmm. Somebody goes, I've been married 4 times. You go, whoa, what the fuck?
Weirdo.
Yeah. What are you, Larry King? Like, so
real romantic.
Yeah. So, so they just did some creative editing, and they sort of snipped out the marriage. Mm-hmm. And is it a coincidence that she was Jewish? I don't know. Am I saying that my father's 4th wife is an anti-Semite? You tell me. You tell me. Anyway, but so I do understand, like getting married again, but there is a certain point where you're like, I feel like if everyone gets 3, I guess, but once you go to 4, you're like, all right, man,
that's where you draw the line.
Yeah, take it easy. I mean, fucking Rupert Murdoch, that motherfucker was married like 7 or 8 times or something like that. And like, I mean, I know at that point, those relationships are more like, it's like, okay, did you know Rupert Murdoch was married to Jerry Hall? Do you know who that is?
I don't know who Jerry I've heard the name, but I don't know who she is.
She was married to Mick Jagger.
Okay.
She was this blonde. She was a very beautiful model in the 70s. She was also bizarrely in the movie Batman with Jack Nicholson. She played like his girlfriend, I think. Yes, something like that. And who got disfigured, something, I don't know. Ooh. But I could be thinking of Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. No,
maybe
I'm not. But anyway, but what I'm saying is, like, a guy like Rupert Murdoch, he, I think what happens with a guy like that is he says to somebody, okay, listen, I enjoy spending time with you. I want to marry you. Here's a contract for 8 years.
Yeah, that has to be all worked out.
When we're
it's
done.
It's like Hugh Hefner or something, where it was all like sort of transactional.
Right.
Like
But
you had to sleep in the bed with them a certain amount of
Ugh,
nights
can you
and
imagine?
with
Ugh.
other bleached blondes.
Yeah, but apparently, according to all those women that he was his girlfriends, I don't think he married. I think he was only married. I think Hugh Hefner may have only married 2 or 3 times. I don't think he was.
Oh, the other ones were like unofficial.
Yeah, they
Oh
were.
yeah, because sometimes they were just girlfriends, right?
Yes, yeah.
I think there was girlfriend contracts.
But I think there were contracts. Yes,
Right.
there's definitely like you can live in the house and you can. There's a funny story about how like I mean I'm gonna butcher the story, but apparently like
I'm gonna butcher the story.
I'm gonna butcher the story. Rob Schneider, like Rob Schneider.
Ooh, the real Rob.
Yeah, he went to a party at Playboy Mansion, and he like fucked one of Hefner's like girlfriends, and
Okay.
Hugh Hefner got really upset. I'd be upset too because I'd be like, you fucked Rob, like what?
Yeah.
was
At least
Pa-
go for James Caan.
Yeah, exactly. What was
uh,
Paulie? Where was Paulie Shore at
right.
the snooker table? You know, like, and I think it's funny because at the end of his life, Hugh Hefner he would have like movie night. So he'd sit
Right.
around with all the girls, but he'd make them watch like movies from the 50s, you know, like they don't watch like Rear Window with like Albert Hitchcock.
Which is crazy because if OnlyFans was a thing
yeah,
back then, he would have had nothing. He would have had no game, really, because he was like the kingmaker for
yes,
like women that wanted to, I don't know, show their tits.
Well,
And
there was that show, the Hefner, whatever, the Girls of Hugh Hefner or something. So there were like ancillary benefits to being involved with Hugh Hefner and Playboy. And
oh yeah, no, I mean, I think that was the whole thing. I don't think many of the women were
right, but I
were
mean,
getting wet for Hef.
but I mean, like, I think a big deal of it was just, if anything, just to like have a place to live,
Sure,
you know,
with shag carpeting,
yeah, and a Betamax.
like
Like-
really dated.
Oh God,
but
yeah.
like yet cutting edge at
Oh,
the time.
Yeah, he's probably, and like Hugh Hefner has no idea. He's like
Got a
bragging.
satellite
He's like
dish.
satellite dish, a projection television.
right.
He refers to the refrigerator as an ice box.
Yeah,
He's like,
for
"Go-
sure.
Go get some cold cut. Make me a couple of Dagwoods out of
Right.
the ice box.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of
Oh,
thing.
man.
Yeah, he always makes jokes with the girls they don't get about like ration coupons.
right. Like
He's-
depression
yeah,
humor.
yeah, exactly. Right. He's like, yeah. He's like, when I was your age, girls, we had to eat the feet of dogs.
Right.
It was called dog foot stew,
Right.
and we loved it.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
We'd fight over
yeah,
the last.
my grandmother died.
cup.
She was 19 when she died. Girls,
right,
that's
sure,
right.
of
Now,
typhoid.
It's Tuesday. Tiffany, come over here and lick my asshole for 90
Right.
seconds.
You signed a
Get
contract.
over here.
Hey, we got one from a
Hold
couple
on,
of
hold
super
on.
chats.
But he
Okay.
pulls the contract out and it's written in like a quill, like an old timey, like a contract, like a
Sure.
quill and like letters. And he puts on like those bifocals. Anyway, go ahead.
Right, it's on a scroll.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
Pulls out the jeweler's loop.
Yeah.
Okay, Luke Taylor. We got three of them here.
What's
Look
up,
at this.
Lukey?
Wow.
Luke.
Luke Taylor, this show deserves many more eyes. Smarter and funnier than 99% of what's out
God,
there.
Luke.
Thanks, Kings. He
fucking-
said. I like that he called us
I
Kings.
like that too, Luke.
He must be a millennial.
By the
or
way,
something.
Luke Taylor is a great name. So thank you, Luke.
Right.
It's nice.
Thank you.
I couldn't agree more. Nothing makes me happier than watching other shows and being like, I think this show is better.
Yeah. Well, Luke, tell the fellas from your fantasy
Yeah.
football league.
Tell
or
the
something.
other male models that you live with. Luke Taylor is definitely a male model.
You know, around Luke Taylor, male model,
Luke Taylor, male model, and paratrooper.
guitar instructor.
Yeah, exactly.
Another one from the great James O'Sullivan. You guys see the Spinal Tap 2? See details of Spinal Tap 2. Looks fun.
All
I
right.
don't know if he's goofing
For
around. Or is there
those-
really a Spinal Tap
all right,
2 coming?
Let's assume for 30 seconds people don't
Electric Boogaloo.
know what Spinal Tap is. That's good. Spinal Tap was a
Spinal
movie
Tap Reloaded.
directed and written by Rob Reiner in
Sure.
1981, I believe it was.
You're
And it
giving
was
the full Wikipedia.
Well, hold on. I'm just going to burn
All right,
through it
okay,
just
go
because
ahead,
I think
go
it bears discussion.
okay.
And we could put on a clip and then we get demonetized immediately.
I know, right? Well,
Like the
yeah.
pe- like
well,
the-
they would want a cut. Is
No.
what that's what it is. They
I
want a
have
cut.
given Christopher Guest enough of my money.
Right.
Thank you very much.
No kidding.
No, So the movie, it is and I believe I invented this term, it is a mock documentary, or as I call them, a mockumentary.
Mockumentary.
Yeah.
That's
And Rob Reiner plays this documentarian who the whole thing is about this band from the 60s. And it's like their most recent tour. And it's this tour. And I believe the name of the album was Smell the Glove. And which is great.
I actually just rewatched this within the last couple of months.
It's fucking hilarious. I mean, it really, for those of you who've never seen Spinal Tap, it is so goddamn funny, and it is brilliant, and it's great. I think so Michael McKean is in it. Christopher Guest is in it. Not Hank
Harry
Azaria.
Shearer.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. Gary, I just touched you. Gary Shearer.
Harry Shearer.
Harry Shearer, right? Who's
who
the
else?
voice on Saturday Night Live? Simpsons.
Simpsons, yeah.
So Fran Drescher plays like a record executive.
Mhm.
Not Pauly Shore. What's this guy's name that was on Letterman? I met him. He's a dick.
Oh, Paul Schaefer.
Paul Schaefer. Yeah, Paul Schaefer's in it. Billy Crystal plays a mime as a caterer. So, and this is like 81. A lot of these people have already had career, but everyone's very young in it. And it's a documentary and about this band, and shit goes horribly wrong. And they're these two guys. It's kind of like Paul and John, and they're always having a drummer that's always dying. Anyway, my point is like it's very. I would love to think that they could do a Spinal Tap 2 and have it be incredibly funny and brilliant and even half as enjoyable. But since they've made Spinal Tap, and you can find tons of clips on YouTube, don't do it now, and don't like those, please. If you're not liking this and don't like those, come on, stop it. Don't be such a slut. But my point is like you can find the clips on there, and you can see a lot of what we're talking about. And if you watched, there is a version of it that's like an additional half an hour, which is great. Which is
the
good.
director's cut.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But like director didn't cut.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So, but since they made this thing, 40 plus years ago, Spinal Tap has gone on tour. They've done like different things, and like it's diminishing returns. Like it is definitely, it's still very funny, and the idea is funny, but seeing a Spinal Tap 2 where these guys are in their 70s, I don't know. I mean, I hope it's good, and I'll certainly check it out. But like, I cannot, if anybody, I don't know if James could think of one, or I cannot think of a sequel to a comedy, especially like, okay, for example, I'll give you two examples. Caddyshack. Caddyshack is an unbelievable, again, I don't know who even listens to this. If you've never seen Caddyshack, it's really fucking funny. It falls apart in the last 20 minutes, but who cares? It's really funny. Doug Kenny, who is from National Lampoon, he wrote it, and I don't know. It's really fucking brilliant, and it's funny and stupid, and it's well worth it. Caddyshack 2 was made about 8 years later, and Jackie Mason plays the Rodney Dangerfield part, and that is Jonathan Silverman is in it. That movie, I believe Diane, I can't believe I know this, Diane Cannon, I believe, plays like the hot blonde. Anyway, it still takes place in Bushwood, which is the name of the country club, and it is widely considered to be one of the worst sequels ever made. Like it's pretty much Chevy Chase is in it for about.
I never even saw it.
I actually, not too long ago, I actually listened to a mini documentary about it, and apparently Chevy Chase agreed to be in it for like $4 million, but he said he'd only work for like 3 days. So he's only in the movie for maybe 15 minutes, and the whole movie is like Jackie Mason's like, wait, I should go visit the Chevy Chase guy. I should go to his house and say hello.
Right.
So he goes, so literally he goes, the Jackie Mason character goes and visits Chevy Chase. And the whole time Chevy Chase is giving him advice about the country club while he's playing golf in his house. So it's horrible. I mean, Caddyshack is terrible. Another terrible sequel, Arthur with Dudley Moore, is fucking hilarious. I mean, there's scenes in that movie. It's not as overall as whatever. It's really, really funny. And it's consistently funny. It's about basically this alcoholic playboy in New York who has to marry a girl to keep his fortune, and he doesn't want to marry her because he falls in love with Liza Minnelli. I don't know. Everyone was on cocaine. What do you want? And he saw her stealing a tie from Bergdorf Goodman. But it's a very, very, in the whole movie, he's just shit-faced in the movie, and it's really funny. Now, Arthur 2, On the Rocks, is about Arthur trying to get sober, which is completely not funny. So just to illustrate the point, something as great as what Spinal Tap is, and whether you love it or whatever it is, it is a classic, right? I can't imagine the sequel is going to come anywhere close. And unfortunately, what happens a lot of times is the sequel ends up actually like getting a little stink on the first movie. So you're kind of like,
100%. I think it's just a money grab off the back. I think they make it because they're like, well, we can wring a little more out of this sort of thing. Completely tarnishes the legacy a lot of times, but it's like they get their money.
Now I know, and maybe I'm not going to, God, tell us in the comments. No, please don't. But I'm trying, can you think of a comedy that made a sequel that was not even as good, but almost as good. I'm going to give you one more classic movie with a terrible sequel,
Okay.
Airplane, and then Airplane 2 takes place on the space shuttle with William Shatner as the pilot. And it's fucking horrible. I mean, it's just horrible. It's not funny. It's just a movie like Airplane. I mean, it's kind of lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
yeah.
like Airplane 2. So Airplane was great. Airplane 2, not. Arthur 2, horrible. Caddyshack 2. I'll even say Cannonball Run. First Cannonball Run. Pretty funny, pretty ridiculous, pretty goofy. Cannonball 2 is basically like a 70-minute music video of them
More
playing.
like Cannonball None. Am I right?
Yeah, more like
Take that.
Yeah, or more like Cannonball. You ever seen the James Sullivan version, Cannonball Cum, which is this huge loads
Sure.
of frozen jism,
Mhm.
and he lets it melt on his face.
Speaking of that, we got a bunch more messages. Let's blow through these,
Yeah,
and
we're
then we
going.
got to go to the
Patreon.
Patreon.
Come with us.
Yeah. Everybody get in the truck.
Bonus show. Yeah, exactly.
Properly labeled right. Brian, make sure you check out the Interbelt Strip Club while you're in Akron.
Okay.
Any idea if Hustler Club is still open in Cleveland?
These are
Do you
both.
keep tabs on?
Okay. Number one, this is a little inside baseball for people listening, but like years ago, I worked for the Hustler Club, and I know a lot of people probably know that, but I'm just going to very quickly. And there's an area of Cleveland called the Flats, and what happened was I went out to the Flats, and again, this is like, oh my god, 20 years ago, probably 17, 18 years ago, and when I worked for the Hustler Club, my boss brought me out there, who was the other owner of ECW with Paul Heyman, if that's kind of brings it around to some people. And I had to go to Cleveland with this guy, and we opened a Hustler Club in the Flats. And the only reason why we opened this Hustler Club in the Flats was because the state government was in the purchase in the Flats is like this kind of nightlife area of downtown Cleveland, right? And it's this like a warehouse district, but it was all these nightclubs and bars and shit. But by the mid 2000s or late 2010, 2015, it had really they had started to put in like residential, like kind of like what they did in Soho, like make condos and shit. They started to gentrify the whole area. So there was some big developer in Cleveland who was going to buy like blocks and blocks of this area of Cleveland. And the Hustler Club was building a club in this area that was going to be rezoned. And the idea was all the money that the Hustler Club spent on the club, they would get reimbursed, but they had to open the club first. So what happened was we went out there, we opened a Hustler Club, spent, I don't know, millions of dollars. I was in charge of just the marketing and promotions of it with like the hotels and stuff, but like, and the idea was you make this club, you make it look like a real strip club. You put in fucking all this shit. I remember discussions about whether or not we should have like a pole with a box, because when that's what black guys like to do, they make it rain with the dollars.
Right.
And that way, if you make it they call them litter boxes, because the girls dance in like a box instead of a pole on a stand. And that way the money all stays down there. There was like a big, I remember being in a couple of meetings about like, should we have one of those or not? Did we want that sort of an element in the club? You know, it's like the real star. It was like it was like the NATO talks. So anyway, so the idea, we made the club, and then I was no longer involved with that club, and presumably about a year later, that developer, I swear to God, I think it may have been Ratner, same guy that's here in New York. That developer purchased that, and they moved all of those types of clubs. This was the only strip club that was in the Flats, to my knowledge, and they moved it across the Cuyahoga River to like a district. It's kind of like a red light, not a red light, but like where kind of like
zoned
a zone adult
sure.
entertainment area.
Right.
So I don't know, but and I would love, listen, I love dirty, filthy strip clubs as much as anybody can imagine. And but I'm going to be out there with my daughter. So I only have one night. I am planning on going to, I did find a restaurant out there called Lanning's. The Dean Martin Steakhouse.
Okay.
Which opened in 1972.
Probably still smoking.
And I did find that place. Yeah, but if it's Akron, it's smoke from a tire fire.
Right.
It's not just cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Just the whole place. Yeah. Anyway, so
James O'Sullivan writes, show pitch idea, weekly porn star power rankings.
Power bottom ranking?
I would do it.
Real quick, can you do your Lisa Ann thing, and then we'll jump?
We don't have time for that.
Okay, so
we're going to run out of time for the actual.
Okay, go ahead.
We got to do a Patreon after this.
Yeah, we do. Sorry.
But But we'll talk about that on the Patreon if you
Thank
want,
you.
unless you have a thing to
All
talk
right,
about.
real quick. We're having Lisa Ann, the porn girl,
Wait,
on
what?
this show at some point
What?
soon. I talked to Lainey about
Oh,
it.
you did. Oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah,
you said
she-
so maybe we don't want to.
Well, I want to hear the story. It doesn't matter.
It's not
fine.
favorable, so
Oh,
I don't want to.
well,
If we're gonna have her
okay.
on, I'm like,
All right.
well, I'm gonna keep my damn mouth shut.
Okay, fair enough. Well,
Anyways,
Lisa Ann does fantasy football apparently.
Okay.
and she has to get through the Super Bowl.
okay,
then-
fun
yeah,
times, and
then
then she's coming on. But yeah, James, I think send me your power rankings, and
Yes.
I'll read them.
I will.
on the show. That'd be fun. He also says not a sequel, but Waiting for Guffman. 10 out of 10.
Yes,
Awesome.
100%.
I do remember that. That was one about
Yes.
waiting for
Yes.
the
And that's
nomination.
And Christopher Guest actually wrote that one, unlike Spinal Tap. Yeah, Waiting for Guffman is great. Best in Show is great. And then it sort of goes, Home for Porn or whatever. But yeah, no, I just showed my kids Waiting for Guffman. It's phenomenal.
Properly labeled writes, did you realize both you and Chad are Kent State alumni?
I'm going to be going to Kent
And he
State.
said, can't read, can't write, Kent State.
Is that really a thing?
Golden flashes. Yeah, that's like a thing that they
Oh,
say.
God.
Can't read, can't write, Kent State.
I'll be back there in about a month.
Mhm.
I will be staying at the Hampton Inn.
Right.
Not to brag. Apparently, there's some diner there that has a 50-page
You
menu.
must have rewards points or something.
I'm doing pretty well.
Christ.
Yeah.
The great James O'Sullivan writes, Christmas Vacation number 3 is greater than European Vacation number 2 ?
Yes, 100%.
Boy, I don't go that deep. I don't
Well,
know.
it's not that deep. He's right. The
No?
first vacation.
Oh, I mean,
and
I
also,
haven't seen all those, is what I'm saying.
James, if you like to read the National Lampoon, those movies came from some like article, like fake articles written in the National Lampoon about vacations in the 60s. So if you look up, like Google search National Lampoon vacation articles from the movie, that was the genesis of the movie. So, but I agree. And then the one with Ed Helms is horrible. Not even a fucking National Lampoon is on it. So, all right.
Wow. Okay,
Are we
that's
done?
it.
Wow.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, oof, I'm exhausted. Okay.
Right? I know you might need to take a nap. before
Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and it's nice to sing for the night.
and join the
stuff.
Patreon if you want to watch the
Come to the
second
bonus
half.
show. We're going to take like
Yeah.
a 2-minute break here. I'm going to make myself another coffee like I need it. Okay, we're having fun. And we'll see you next week. Okay. Thanks, James and Tony and everybody else. And that's it. Okay.
Bye.